In the heart of a forgotten village stood the House of Closed Doors, a dilapidated mansion whispered about in hushed tones by the locals. Its legend was as old as the village itself, telling of doors that led to realms beyond human comprehension, of those who entered and never returned. Despite its ominous reputation, curiosity led many to its threshold, including Ethan, a writer obsessed with the arcane. Ethan had come across the mansion's story in an ancient tome, his fascination driving him to seek it out. The villagers warned him, their eyes clouded with fear, but Ethan's thirst for a tale yet untold propelled him forward. The house stood, silent and imposing, its architecture a bizarre mix of styles, as if it were pieced together from different worlds. Ethan pushed the heavy front door open, stepping into a dimly lit foyer. The air was thick with the scent of dust and decay. Before him were numerous doors, each unique in design, ranging from ornate Victorian to simplistic modern, some appearing ancient, as if carved from the very roots of the earth. He chose a door at random, a heavy wooden barrier with carvings that seemed to shift and change as he watched. Heart racing, he opened it, stepping through into utter darkness. When his eyes adjusted, he found himself in a forest, bathed in perpetual twilight, the trees towering and twisted, their branches clawing at the sky. Ethan explored this world, finding no end to the forest, no sign of life. As he ventured deeper, the trees began to whisper, voices that were not quite human, speaking in a language he felt in his bones rather than heard with his ears. Fear gripped him, urging him to flee back to the door. But when he turned, it had vanished. Panic set in as he ran, the whispers growing louder, more insistent. He stumbled upon a clearing where the trees circled a mirror-like pond. In its reflection, he saw not his own face, but a multitude of eyes staring back, filled with malice and hunger. Realizing the forest itself was alive, and he its prey, Ethan searched desperately for an escape, the whispers now screams in his mind. In a final act of defiance, or perhaps madness, he plunged into the pond, the cold embrace of its waters enveloping him. When he emerged, gasping for air, he was back in the foyer of the House of Closed Doors. Shaken, he fled the mansion, the doors slamming shut behind him, as if the house itself was satisfied with the terror it had instilled. Back in the village, Ethan wrote of his experience, his story a cautionary tale of curiosity and the unknown. But his tale was met with disbelief, dismissed as the ramblings of a man touched by madness. The House of Closed Doors stood silent, waiting for the next soul brave or foolish enough to uncover its secrets. But Ethan knew the truth. The doors weren't merely passageways to other worlds. They were tests, reflections of one's inner fears and desires. He had escaped, but something within him had changed. A part of him, forever lost to the whispers of the forest. And so, the house remained, a puzzle box of horrors untold, its legend growing with each soul that dared to uncover its mysteries. The doors were always waiting, always hungry for the next story to unfold within their embrace. In the shadowed outskirts of a long-forgotten town stood Hollow Hall, an abandoned school whose ivy-clad walls harbored whispers of a chilling past. Once a bustling institution filled with the laughter of children, it now lay in ruins, its classrooms empty, save for the ghosts of memories, and one other. Legend told of the ghost of Hollow Hall, a spectral presence bound within the crumbling stone and broken glass. It was said that the ghost was the spirit of Eleanor Rigby, a young teacher who vanished without a trace one stormy night decades ago. Her story was etched into the lore of the local town. Her disappearance marked the beginning of the school's rapid decline and eventual abandonment. Curiosity drew three teenagers, Alice, Mark, and Jody, to the gates of Hollow Hall one fateful evening. They were thrill seekers, armed with flashlights and a camera, determined to capture proof of the supernatural. The night was particularly dark, the moon obscured by swirling clouds, as if the sky itself warned against their intrusion. As they entered the main hallway, their flashlights flickered across peeling paint and shattered trophies, the air thick with the musty scent of decay. Their voices echoed strangely, as if absorbed by the walls, which seemed to pulsate subtly with a life of their own. "Did you hear that?" Jody whispered, pausing. A soft sobbing sounded from the end of the corridor. The group followed the noise, drawn to a classroom at the far end of the hall. The door creaked ominously as they pushed it open, revealing a chalkboard still etched with lessons long since forgotten. The sobbing grew louder, and then, as abruptly as it had begun, it stopped. The air grew colder, and in the beam of their flashlights, they saw it. A figure, translucent and shimmering, standing by the teacher's desk. It was Eleanor, her expression one of sorrow and fear, her mouth moving silently. "She's trying to tell us something," Mark said, stepping closer. His foot hit a loose floorboard, and suddenly, a whirlwind of papers circled the room, old assignments and photographs that had hidden beneath the floor. As they fluttered to the ground, one caught Alice's eye. It was a photo of Eleanor, but behind her was another figure, a shadowed silhouette that seemed all too familiar. The air shifted, and the ghost of Eleanor pointed towards the back of the classroom. Hesitantly, they approached a large, old wooden cabinet. Inside, hidden beneath a false bottom, lay a dusty, leather-bound journal. Alice opened the journal, and the pages revealed a tale not just of a schoolteacher, but of a woman ensnared in a forbidden love, a love with someone marked by darkness. The entries detailed her fears of being followed, of seeing shadows where there were none, of whispers that spoke in the dead of night. As the last page turned, the ground beneath them trembled, the walls of the classroom distorted, stretching and groaning as if in pain. Eleanor's ghost gestured frantically towards the exit, her face contorted in a silent scream. They ran, the hallways now alive with the sounds of a building groaning under the weight of its haunted past. They burst out into the night, the school's doors slamming shut behind them with a resounding boom. Panting, they looked back. Eleanor's figure appeared one last time at the window, her hand pressed against the glass before she faded away, her expression one of relief. The next day, compelled by the night's horrors, Alice returned alone. Stepping into the light of day, the school seemed less menacing. She approached the classroom they had fled. There, on the desk where Eleanor had stood, was a final message written in the dust. "Thank you." Alice realized then that their intrusion had not disturbed the ghost, but had liberated her. The love that had once threatened Eleanor's life had kept her bound to this place, and uncovering her story had set her spirit free. As Alice left Hollow Hall for the last time, the sun broke through the clouds, casting light into the dark corners of the school, as if in a final farewell. Hollow Hall would continue to stand, abandoned and decaying, but no longer a prison for the ghost of Eleanor Rigby.